Vince McMahon has been called out by, of all people, UFC president Dana White, who took aim at McMahon in the post-show press conference following the UFC event in St. Louis this past weekend. We're going to take a listen to some of Dana White's comments that were, quite frankly, insane when you think about it. We're going to take a listen to those. We're also going to talk about what it means for potential partnerships between UFC and WWE moving forward. We're also going to get into a pretty big update about an AEW star who was at one point facing very serious legal action, who may be out of the water. All that, much more coming up right here in this video. I'm Omer Q for Real Take Wrestling. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. All right, so Dana White in the post-show press conference of this past weekend's UFC event was asked about potential collaborations between WWE and UFC that would see UFC talent being a part of WWE shows. And during his answer, he kind of took aim, well, not kind of, he really took aim at Vince McMahon and his relationship with the man in the past. Let's take a listen.
Some of the fighters who fight here, have always dreamed about doing a WWE match or whatever it is. And yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I didn't have a problem with that when Vince was consistently fucking me for no reason. And, now that that's not the case anymore, I, obviously would absolutely do it.
Could we ever see you as like a special guest referee one day?
Me? Yeah, that I guarantee you will not. No, never.
Well, first of all, the special guest referee thing, amazing question by whoever that reporter was to ask, but a very expected answer there. The thing that was unexpected, obviously, was Vince being brought up in this press conference in any way. Vince McMahon and TKO are still dealing with the fallout of the Janelle Grant lawsuit that was filed earlier this year, has landed both the company and its former chairman in very hot water. But it was interesting to hear Dana White's comments about McMahon there. I mean, he said it quite frankly there. He said, Vince has been fucking me over. And obviously, the relationship between these two men has not been and is not great. That much is clear. And we had heard kind of speculation of something to this degree in the past where these two, for whatever reason, did not get along. This has been something that's kind of been brewing ever since the 2016 UFC 200 event where Lesnar came in and he was fighting Mark Hunt. And there was a weird cross promotion that kind of happened, but they didn't go all the way with it. And we had heard things were brewing ever since then between these two, but never this serious. I mean, Dana White, who's been someone who's been outspoken about the way he feels about professional wrestling, and regardless of that, I mean, he's still someone who has been willing to work and support wrestling. He supported Ronda Rousey when she was doing her first match. He has, been outspoken about, wanting to work more with WWE, which we'll get into, and what that could look like in the future with UFC talent going over to WWE. I think that's very close in the future. But I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of speculating what this is about. I think this is really about, the past dealings that UFC has had with Vince and with WWE and how they've not been great. And now that WWE and UFC are kind of under this umbrella of TKO, I think we're going to see, I'm not going to say forced kind of collaborations, but, highly encouraged collaborations between the two that make business sense when you think about it, as far as trying to win over the crossover fan that I don't think is out there as much as maybe TKO thinks, but also kind of helping build that name recognition alongside both shows. So I think that's definitely a part of it. Going to the more interesting, in my opinion, aspect of all of this, that being what Dana White had to say about UFC competitors going over into WWE. He said he's open to it. We know that there are discussions with several UFC talent. Michael Chandler has already made an appearance on WWE Raw. That was one of the first ones of this TKO UFC WWE collaboration that we've seen. And I think moving forward, expect to see that kind of stuff. I promise you this. we will see Conor McGregor in a WWE ring, whether it's a match or a promo, doesn't matter. I think a match with Conor McGregor, who I think will still be active in the UFC, is significantly more likely today than it was 4, 5, even 6 years ago. Like, I think Dana is serious because he understands the level of hype this will build up for his events, and I think it's a no-brainer for WWE because if you have a McGregor, a Chandler, even a Snowflake Covington on your show, it is going to attract eyeballs that would not be there before. So you're building up your brand, you're building that awareness, and you're getting yourself headlines. Like, people on SportsCenter are going to be talking about it. ESPN's going to be talking about it. Sports outlets will cover it. So it makes all the business sense in the world. And like Dana mentioned, a lot of these UFC competitors, one of the things they wanted to do when they were younger was step into the squared circle and wrestle. So I think this offers them the ability to kind of live out their dream as well. So it checks a lot of boxes. I think it makes sense. And honestly, if they're going to have these weekends of, UFC and WWE events, I think it makes all the sense in the world to kind of cross promote whenever possible. So I think we're going to be seeing that definitely a lot more in the future, but I'm really interested to find out what you all think. Let me know in the comments section as we move on to our next and final topic, that being an update on Cash Wheeler and his criminal case. So let's talk about it. So originally, there was going to be a trial for Cash Wheeler. So Cash Wheeler last August was brought to court for an aggravated assault case that stemmed from, I believe, a road rage incident. And this was pretty big news because it came out the same week as within a few weeks, of All In. And people were talking about how this might jeopardize that match. Obviously, that match was not in jeopardy. He did wrestle that, but it's still been kind of pending ever since then. Well, recently, we found out via PW Insider that prosecutors have opted to abandon this case, and it is officially closed. The quote from PW Insider is, quote, "Wheeler can move forward without any additional worry about legal issues stemming from the situation." And that is great news for Cash Wheeler. I think that, this has been, it's just to say this has been a blemish on his career and his recent work would be an understatement. This is definitely a part of his life and past that he wants to forget and move forward on. I think that much has been clear from the way that, the messaging has been around this. I think it's fair to say that this was a mistake, a very dumb and stupid mistake on the part of Cash Wheeler that he has learned from and that he's moving forward with. I think there is nothing wrong with learning from your actions and moving forward and becoming a better person. That's what he has said about the situation. That's the way it's been portrayed. And I think that's the way we should take it. So I'm glad in a way that obviously like Cash isn't going to be facing any harsh time or anything, or he's not going to be, like have the book thrown at him or anything like that. Like, obviously, like that is what it is. That being said, I mean, I hope also for other wrestlers and other people out there in general, like this kind of serves as a bit of a learning moment for them too. I mean, like, we're always going to be tested in these situations, regardless of how famous or notable you are. You're always going to be tested. And it's very important when these situations happen to always try to be the calmest person in the room or in the situation. That's not always possible. I fully understand that. But it is what it is. I mean, look, the silver lining here for everyone is that, I think obviously Cash is sorry and that he's moving forward and everything is fine. So all that being said, hopefully we can never talk about the situation again. It has been, like no one likes to sit here and talk about these wrestlers and like the illegal battles they're facing in this respect. I mean, but again, like this was a massive story over the summer. People legitimately thought at one point that Cash wasn't going to be able to wrestle at All In. And biggest show of all time, Wembley, all that stuff, and not having FTR there, and like they were still kind of pushing this match, but glad it all worked out in there. And you look, glad it worked out for everyone involved here, but that's what we got. Let me know in the comment section, though, what you guys think about all of this. What do you think about UFC and WWE working together? Are you happy? Are you excited? What UFC competitor do you want to see wrestle in a squared circle? Let me know in the comment section. Also, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.